So good to see so many brothers and sisters here today from all the four races. This is true unity in action here. This is human unity. We are the first peoples. We are the human beings of Mother Earth. Seeing you all here, are you all ready? Brothers and sisters, the time is now. Mother Earth needs us more than ever. The water and the land. I've sat here and I want to acknowledge the Coast Salish brothers and sisters for allowing me to be on your traditional territory, as well as the leadership and everybody that's here. I greet and I lift you all up, the chiefs, the water protectors, the grandmothers and the grandfathers. They're the ones that laid down this historic day today with all their life's work. Let's give them a big round of applause, our grandmothers and our grandfathers. As my brother Clayton said, yes, I've been fighting for climate change and we've been fighting for the environment. I fought at the UN level for the Indigenous platform when world leaders did not want to support it. I sat there around that table with an elder from the NWT and I told him, they're going to talk about us and we're not at that table. You know what that elder told me? He said, you're the chief, lead the way. And that's what we did. We went and grabbed that banner and we said, if you want to start talking about the Indigenous people in the world, here we are, we're the Indigenous people. Let's talk about the land and water. Are you ready? Are you ready? It's our time. Are you ready? All right. Just like Justin Trudeau approved Kinder Morgan, government approvals don't mean nothing. It only takes one First Nation to assert their territorial jurisdiction, and that's what the Wet'suwet'en did, and they won that fight. So please join me in welcoming Chief Namuks and Chief Sagat from the Wet'suwet'en Nation.
Denny's at you, Sakai's at you. As was said, I am Namak. I sit as the highest ranking chief of the Beaver clan of the Wet'suwet'en Nation. Beside me is my father clan, Chief Sikot of the Lixilio. You've listened to the words that have been said. I hope you keep them with you. Remember that you are the power. It is your heart that will steer you. That's how you win. It's not elected officials, and it sure as hell is not corporations. When we took on Enbridge, they said that this giant is going to continue. They made it sound like these things were done. No, they're not done until you say it's done. When corporations steer a government, as they did with Harper, you got this here Prime Minister selfie happening and he's not done nothing for you. Last year I spoke at the United Nations in New York, a day after they said that they would support and uphold UNDRIP. We said we'd be back in 1 year to give a report card on Canada and the Prime Minister and his cabinet. So this year we went to Geneva and we gave that report card to the world, to the Committee to Eradicate Racial Discrimination, and it was a big fat red F. It was a red F because they don't treat you as human beings, they treat you as a commodity. In our territory they proposed 11 pipelines, not one was built. And we couldn't have done it by ourselves. You never work in isolation. You've got to have like-hearted and like-minded people with you. And I thank you for being here today. It's such an honor to be here with this here beautiful crowd. I'm rather intimidated because you're a scary bunch and it's time to do that. And if I'm intimidated, imagine what the government and industry is thinking.
For many generations, my grandfather, Chief Dan George, worked with George Manuel and the Manuel family. Art Manuel worked with my family, with my mom and my uncle, and I work with Canihus. We work together, and we have our families have a mutual love for one another. We call ourselves relations. Our grandparents adopted each other, and she also works with my son. They traveled Europe and went to United Nations, did a powerful message there. Talked to the international banks and told them to divest. Had a successful trip over there. My son's here in Canihus. But also, she's bringing up Mike, who's an uncle to me, a spiritual elder from the territory there. But Canihus is a midwife and a tattoo artist, but more importantly, she also is a warrior like the sisters that came up. Support what they're doing. You also get alerts for what they're doing with the tiny houses. They're going to put 10 along the pipeline. Support them as well. So I'd like to call up my sister. Let's give them both, and my Uncle Mike, let's give them a warm welcome.
Greetings, everybody. I'm here, Kanahus Befki, Red Woman from the Secwepemc Nation, with my Uncle Mike Arnus. We come from Secwepemc Uluk, the land of the spilling waters, from the very first drop as it melts off our glaciers in the mountains in our territory that travel down and touch every living thing all the way to here, to the Salish seas. We come from the land of the spilling waters, and we're here to tell Trudeau, you're not bringing that pipeline through our lands. We're here to tell Notley the same thing, you're not bringing this pipeline through our lands. The land of the spilling waters. And I'm so happy to see everybody act on this call to warrior up. Yeah. To be here with Ta'a, with the George family. Our families go back generations. And it was my grandfather, George Manuel, that was friends and comrades with the Chief Dan George. So our families are like this. Our fingers come together to make this fist for solidarity. That they can't penetrate our lands with their dirty oil pipelines. We're building 10 tiny houses to be put on the path, strategically on the path of the Kinder Morgan Trans Mountain Pipeline. We have 3 built already. We're going to start our 4th soon. We're ready to deploy some of these tiny houses, so be alert, get you ready. Clayton, listen to Clayton give you the number again, but we are going to be putting these tiny houses out there. One of the biggest threats right now is a 1,000-man construction camp. So we don't want these 1,000 men coming into our lands to construct this pipeline, because with these 1,000 men in these camps, in these industry camps of transient workers that come to these camps, we see it in all of our relatives' communities that are impacted by man camps right now. The increase of violence against women, the sexual attacks against our women, and it's the Indigenous women that are first impacted by this violence that happens. It is our mothers, and as Ruben said, I'm a midwife. We know as women, and all you women here, all you life givers, I love you. You're birthing the nation that's going to defend the sacred as well. From the water that's in the womb as the mothers give birth. That water that connects us from the same drop that drops from our glaciers to the same water that's in our wombs, to the same water in the Salish seas. We will defend it. By any means, we will defend the sacred.
I want to thank the Tsleil-Waututh Nation, Go Salish, Haida,
all the First Nations of British Columbia. You guys have been at the forefront of a lot of these fights and a lot of legal precedences that have taken place here in British Columbia that all First Nations are now benefiting from across the country. My name is Serge Woodsy Simon. My Mohawk name, being Woodsy, means he takes more than 3 minutes. It's actually a little complicated to explain, but anyway. Yeah, and you were just talking about just a minute ago about how it was hard for government, the Conservatives, now the Liberals, and now we're running out of parties to try to trust. I just think it's maybe time to start looking at some other avenues. I came down here about 2 years ago looking for allies to help in the fight to fight Energy East, and the Chiefs of Quebec weren't totally ready yet. So I came out west, came down here with Derek Nipanak and Chief Arnold Gardner, and we came to sit with Grand Chief Phillips to try to get our alliance going, something like East-West alliance to fight these tar sand pipelines. It took a while, but now the alliance that we were looking for morphed into a treaty, and the treaty now comprises of 150 First Nation chiefs right across the pipeline path, right up. Oh yeah, and we also have the Great Sioux Nation, or the Dakota people. They signed off on the treaty, so we have allies there. I also have this one's really surprising, was the First Nation of Jamaica. They signed off on it too.